Hello once again and welcome back, or welcome first-timers to PG Wrestling, the podcast that is covering everything from the PG era of professional wrestling, from WWE to TNA and even Ring of Honor. So far we watched the Great American Bash and we watched the Fallout on Raw, but it is official. This day, July 22nd, 2008, is the first day that WWE officially went TV PG, and it starts with ECW. Oh boy. So if you remember from the Great American Bash, Mark Henry is the ECW champ, and he has Tony Atlas with him. And Colin Delaney, if you remember him at all, he betrayed Tommy Dreamer, cost him the title. So I can't wait to see where this goes. Oh boy. Yeah, again, we actually get to watch this in HD on Peacock instead of watching Raw in 240p on Dailymotion in 9 parts. Shout out to Peacock and shout out to the network. We all miss it. But yeah, I loved starting this episode and seeing that it was only going to be 47 minutes. Yeah. I miss the 1 hour wrestling shows. Even NXT now I think is 2 hours. So yeah, just put a 1 hour show on there, it'll be all right, So again, we get that cool WWE intro to start, with that black and white wrestling, Vince saying Andre the Giant, all that stuff. And then we get the ECW intro video. Again, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a Great American Bash recap, but there wasn't really anything to recap from that. Wasn't that exciting. So we get that ECW intro video, which is it's that great song, Don't Question the Fire That Burns Inside. We got some divas dancing in the video. Excuse me, we're TV PG now. Cut that out. What are we doing? And Mike Adamle, maybe the worst commentator ever, welcomes us to Philadelphia. And I'm like, isn't this is just ironic? Like, Vince had to be planning this out, right? We're going to go TV PG on ECW in the original town where ECW started. Man, it's crazy. And they say there's going to be a fatal 4-way tonight to see who's facing Mark Henry at SummerSlam. The fatal 4-way is Finlay, Matt Hardy, John Morrison, and The Miz. And then we cut to the ring. ECW had those silver ropes back then, and it looked pretty cool. And Teddy Long is in the ring, and apparently he's the ECW GM at this point. And I'm confused. I remember him being the SmackDown GM forever, but maybe like Vicky Guerrero demoted him to ECW or something. I'm not sure. And he is just standing next to the new ECW championship. They didn't feel like covering that thing at all. They didn't want to do a grand reveal. If they did a grand reveal, they probably figured the crowd would boo, so they just have it sitting there on display. Nothing special for that. And again, ironic that, hey, maybe this is their like start of the PG era. Let's get a new ECW title belt. And let's just kill ECW for good, huh? So Mark Henry makes his entrance to come out and accept this new championship belt. Which is, he doesn't even like carry the old title. Probably already threw that thing in the trash. Let's talk about the belt here, the new championship. So I kind of like it. I like that it's silver instead of gold. Just putting ECW in its place as the secondary promotion to Raw and SmackDown. But man, yeah, just dishonoring the ECW, the legacy of that championship. That belt has looked that way for so long, and so many legends, ECW legends, have held it. And it's funny because Taz, this had to be so painful for Taz. He's on commentary for this, and he says, it looks pretty cool. but you know he hates it. And again, he has to be dying just seeing where ECW is at this point. So Tony Atlas cuts a promo for Mark Henry, which like Mark Henry can sort of talk on the mic, but Tony Atlas is better. We'll take it. And he says, this is a new ECW. And I'm like, did they do this on purpose? Like, if you look up when did TVPG begin, it's this date, but like it didn't seem like it was this big thing that they did. It seemed like we were already TVPG for the most part, and they just officially did it. Tony continues by saying, for those that are stuck in the past, you're going to get squashed like Tommy Dreamer. And I'm just like, oh, I love when they use, wrestling terminology like that. That's hilarious. Love it. Tony continues and says, those that embrace this new day. And he kind of actually said it like that. And I'm like, what? Is this where the new day began? What? He says those that embrace this new day will get rewarded like Mark Henry and like Collins Delaney. And I'm like, bro, you can't even say his name right. Come on, Colin Delaney. It's not Collins Delaney. So Colin comes out. He shakes hands with Tony and Mark and grabs the mic. And I'm like, no, this is the death of ECW. And of course, Colin cuts a boring promo. He just says he was tired of getting beat up, which, I mean, I'm okay. Like, sorry, you're a skinny white boy, like you were just getting squashed all the time. And he starts getting what chants. And I hate the what chant. I feel like it can ruin promos and it gets so annoying. But hey, when it's a bad promo, it's okay. Yeah, you could do it during a bad promo. Just don't do it during a good promo. Colin goes on to say he's willing to help Mark and Tony with anything. He even offers to carry their bags. And Tony and Mark kind of look at each other like, what? That's weird. And Teddy Long eventually cuts him off and reminds us they are in Philly, so they are extreme. And I'm like, nope, not anymore. And it's funny because the fans, cheer, of course, hometown, he said Philadelphia, yeah. But it's just, again, if you were an ECW fan, you just have to be like, this has to kill you. I mean, you're probably not even watching wrestling anymore, but man, it has to hurt. And Teddy Long says Colin is going to have a match with The Undertaker. No, I'm kidding. He says he's going to have a match with Tommy Dreamer right now. And of course, it's vintage Teddy Long, right now, give me a referee. And then we hit that instrumental. Dun, 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 dun. It's only the instrumental version of Man in the Box. We can't get the rights to the actual song, even though we're WWE. But yeah, Tommy Dreamer comes out. He's looking mad, which again, I like that he's still looking upset from getting screwed over and everything. And Colin Delaney is just doing a terrible job of looking nervous. You can tell why he doesn't last long, besides the fact that he's, doesn't look like a wrestler at all. But Mike Adamle, of course, he's buying it. He's like, oh, Colin is so nervous. He's shaking his boots. I'm like, you idiot. Gosh, Mike Adamle's the worst. So it's funny. Then Colin kind of acts like he has Mark Henry and Tony as his backup. But of course, they bail on him right away. And we go to commercial. I like how it opened. Again, there was no recap from the Great American Bash because it wasn't necessary. And then the opening segment kind of flowed right into this match. So, I like the flow of these. We saw it on Raw as well. Just the flow from segment to match, was so good. So back from commercial, the referee rings the bell to start the match. And I'm glad they didn't start the match and then go to commercial, or start the match during the commercial. I appreciate that. I hate we're going to get into that. That's like a signature PG era where, they start the match, the wrestlers do like a couple moves, somebody does a suicide dive, and then they go right to commercial. Like every match. But I did remember at this point, I'm like, oh, this isn't live. So this was pre-taped on Tuesday before they taped SmackDown. So at least the crowd didn't have to wait around for the match to start. That's the worst part at some of these live events is sitting through, not live events, but the live show. waiting through all the commercial breaks and stuff. So at least they didn't have to wait around for it. Mike Adamle wonders how long this match will last. And I'm like, oh, okay, Mike Adamle, the dumbest commentator ever. At least he knows this is going to be a squash match, right? And of course, we have like the typical cowardly heel stuff. Colin, gets out of the ring, tries to run away. But Colin actually gets some offense in. And I'm like, okay, maybe you want to build him up and see what he's got. Man, it's so bad though. So dumb. And it's funny, like Tommy Dreamer is just laying it in. He's making everything look painful, clotheslines, just anything. And I'm just like, all right, Colin Delaney, yeah, you suck, bro. But man, he got beat up so bad for so many months. Guys like Big Daddy V, Mark Henry, Kane, like his whole thing was just, I don't know if they were open challenges or what, but it would just be a monstrous guy that would come and just destroy him. And of course, like they want to make it look good, so they lay everything in. And then he's going to get dropped by WWE very soon. Tommy Dreamer hits his vintage Tree of Woe drop kick in the corner. Love that. And then Tommy Dreamer hits his DDT for the win, which, now looking back at that, it's like, that's a really lame finisher, Tommy. Come on, man. You can do something better. Doesn't he have like a pile driver he does, or, maybe like a brain buster or something you could do? It's funny. Tommy Dreamer like tries to start an ECW chant as his song is playing. But the crowd is just like, nope, move it along. So we cut to backstage and we have The Miz and John Morrison. They're talking about losing their tag team championships at the Great American Bash, but they aren't really like broken up about it, which is kind of dumb. John Morrison thinks the winner of this fatal 4-way will be The Miz. And I'm like, what? Okay, I guess comedy stuff, whatever. And The Miz agrees. He's like, yeah, of course I'm going to win. But then he tells Morrison, hey, don't sell yourself too short. And then we go to commercial. Oh, okay. That was kind of weird. But they're funny. They're comedy guys, I guess. Some comedic relief. Coming back from commercial, Jenny McCarthy versus Autism at Saturday night's main event. Woo! I can't wait. They're hyping that, and if you didn't listen to the Raw recap, basically, Jenny McCarthy said she's getting in the ring to fight Autism at Saturday night's main event. So, can't wait to see her fight Autism. I wonder who is gonna play Autism. Back to the show. Chavo Guerrero is making his way to commentary with Bam Neely. I feel at this time, like I feel like Bam Margera was super big, so they're like, oh, we should call somebody Bam Neely. So they come out for commentary, and then Evan Bourne comes out, and I'm like, sweet, yeah, we're getting Evan Bourne. He's got his cool music, even though it's like generic rock music, or like, I don't know, it's kind of fast and upbeat. Like it's still good. And it turns out he's fighting a jobber who's already in the ring. His name was James Curtis, who turns out to be nobody. I actually looked him up. Apparently he started his career with CM Punk, Colt Cabana, and Adam Pearce. But that's the only thing interesting about him. He never becomes anything. They show highlights from ECW last week when Evan Bourne beat Chavo. And it's funny because commentary is talking over this, and Chavo's commenting on it as well. He was like, there was a lot going on. It came out of nowhere. He got lucky. So Chavo's being a good heel, being entertaining at this point. But I'm kind of surprised that Chavo isn't competing for the number one contender spot. Like, I'm surprised he's not in this fatal 4-way. He was just ECW champ, like, not that long ago. It was at WrestleMania 24 where he lost it to Kane. So, I mean, this is like a couple months after that. And it's funny because Mike Adamle actually asks if Chavo has a timeline to get his title back. And Chavo just says the next time he gets in the ring. And nope. Obviously he's just gonna fight Evan Bourne. So it was a boring match between Evan and this jobber. They actually let the jobber have the upper hand for most of it. I get it because Evan's a small guy and you want the heel to beat up the baby face for a while. Evan eventually gets his comeback, and then he hits the shooting star press for the win. So very basic match, very boring, but short and sweet. Bam and Chavo get into the ring to attack Evan, but he does some Tom and Jerry cat and mouse stuff and it slips away, gets out of the ring pretty fast. And his music plays as he kind of taunts them from the stage. And Mike Adamle says, "Born to be wild does it again. You suck." Gosh, he's the worst. So we cut to backstage, and Finley is talking to Hornswoggle about becoming #1 contender. And Hornswoggle's responding in his weird noises. And it's like, why are you trying to talk to him? And can Finley, understand him? Can Finley speak Hornswogglish? Can he actually understand all his grunts and stuff? Anyways, we go to commercial. Coming back from commercial, WWE Did You Know? Remember these? We went through them on Raw. Let's see what we got on ECW. The fact is, in the sports DVD category, WWE outsells MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, college sports, and NASCAR. So they're better than all of them, of course, right? Right? No, it means nothing. These facts are so dumb. I mean, back in the day, buying the pay-per-view after it came out on DVD was actually super common back then. I remember going into FYE in our mall, and they would always have these pay-per-views on DVD. I mean, then you get to own it forever, and, even if you miss it, you can go back and watch it. I mean, it's just what they did back then, Who's buying the Super Bowl on DVD? So dumb. And then we get the Raw Rewind brought to you by WWE Mobile. And they said, download Batista's song as your ringtone. And what a throwback, man. Downloading songs as ringtones. That'd be a pretty good ringtone, though. We just recapped Raw. But these were always a skip back in the day, man. I mean, Raw was literally the night before. And everybody watches Raw. Who doesn't watch Raw but watches ECW? No one. Especially at this point, no one. And they'll probably show this Raw recap video as the preview at the beginning of Raw next week too. But hey, not gonna lie, at least the editing was fire. I mean, that was the purpose of watching this. You just watch Raw, but you're like, oh cool, I wonder how they're gonna edit it and make it look cool and everything. But I hate how, if you watch during this time, you remember anytime they showed recap video from the pay-per-views, anytime there was a move done, they would cut it out. They would fade to black and fade back in after the guy hit the mat or something. So Batista does a spine buster, cut it. CM Punk does a go to sleep, cut it. Kane does a big boot, no way. Can't show the public that, cut it. If you didn't buy the pay-per-view, you don't get to see it. Got it? So dumb. Just show it. I feel like eventually they start doing it, and I remember once they did, I was mind blown. Oh my gosh, they finally were showing it. It took them long enough. Gosh. So we cut to backstage to two no-names. One is Tiffany, which if you remember her, I think she becomes the ECW manager, and the other is Ricky Ortiz, which I usually I can pull some member berries, and remember oh yeah, Tiffany, yeah, she's the ECW general manager at some point. Ricky Ortiz, zero memory, zero. I looked him up. He does nothing. Teddy Long comes in. They do some comedy stuff, and then he gives Ricky a match for next week. So we'll see how he is in the ring. Spoiler alert, he's gonna suck. So we cut to Taz and Mike Adamle, who eventually throw it to a Mike Knox video package to hype him up, apparently. It just kind of sucks. You do a video package with the Raw recap, then you do a backstage segment, and then you do another video package. It's just we're just killing time at this point. And then we do another backstage segment with Matt Hardy. He cuts a decent promo on why he's going to win this match. why he wants to be the champ and all that. And I kind of like the promos to hype up the main event. Even if they aren't good, at least you're giving the guys camera time a little bit. And again, it's kind of hyping it up a little bit. So Taz and Mike, they thanked the band that did the Great American Bash theme song. And I'm like, why? Like, they didn't do that on Raw. The Great American Bash was 2 days ago. We thanked them at the Great American Bash. They probably thanked them all the way up. Why are we doing it after? It's just, they waste so much time on this show. It's an hour wrestling show, and they still are like, let's put in all this filler, all this time. And before you know it, it's the main event. So, I mean, yeah, again, just wasted time. They could have done more with these shows. It's so sad. But Miz comes out first. He's got his pretty cool, like, guitar intro, generic rock music. It's all right. Finlay comes out next, but he has Hornswoggle's stupid, annoying song. So stupid. And Finlay and Hornswoggle actually come out with these, like, inflatable shillelaghs. Ugh, man. I guess all the kids loved Hornswoggle, but, man, it's just shameless plugging. Like, oh, it's so bad. John Morrison comes out next with his epic entrance, the great music, slow-mo, but he doesn't have that pyro go behind him yet. So that was kind of sad. I can't wait till he gets it. And then Matt Hardy comes out last. Spoiler alert. And he was the U.S. champ before this on SmackDown. So did he just, like, randomly get transferred to ECW and they just automatically granted him, this opportunity to be number one contender? I don't know. So Miz and Morrison start the match, like they're going to team up, but Miz actually tries to roll up Morrison. I like that. There's so many times in, like, triple threats and fatal four ways where the tag team, like, teams up most of the match, and then eventually they have to start fighting each other, and they're both shocked because, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We have to fight each other in a fatal four way. So I like that they got that every man for himself mindset out of the way first. And Matt Hardy and Finlay clear both Miz and Morrison out of the ring, and then they start fighting one-on-one, which I like that too. A lot of times in these multi-man matches, like, the faces can't fight each other, even though it's every man for themselves. They're not teaming up. It drives me crazy. Anyways, Miz and Morrison get back in the ring, and they all start fighting, and there's good pace and good action here. All four guys are kind of fighting each other at the same time. It's not just, hey, let's clear the ring of two guys and have two guys fight, and then one guy's going to come out, one guy's going to leave the ring, another guy's going to come in. They do that so much in these multi-man matches now. I like when everybody's fighting. It's good action, good pace, and everything. So, pins are happening. They aren't getting broken up yet, which I like that too. I like that the wrestlers kind of trust that the other guy's like, it's early. I'm not afraid of losing to a pin after a clothesline. And so they aren't breaking up every single pin yet. They're going to get there. Don't worry. So I actually get a commercial break for this match. Look at that. This match isn't just 5 minutes. Coming back from commercial, good action still. All four guys are still fighting. It's starting to slow down a little bit. They're selling more, which I like that, makes sense. As the match is going on here. John Morrison and Finlay try to do a weird trading of pins. It's not like the roly-poly, like schoolboy rolling around or like small package roll-up back and forth. So at least they tried something different, but it's still, it looked weird. It looked awkward. And now we're getting to the part where pins are getting broken up every time. Again, it makes sense, but it's still just so dumb. Like, why are you going for a pin when somebody is literally standing right next to you that is just going to break it right up? I hate that. So eventually Hornswoggle tries to get involved here, which draws Miz and Morrison, it just draws John Morrison outside, and then Finlay comes out to help Hornswoggle as well. They fight into the crowd a little bit, so I thought, hey, Morrison and Finlay are going to, like, fight off, and then Matt and the Miz are going to be alone to kind of finish the match. But Miz actually comes out to help Morrison with Finlay. They do one of their tag team moves off the barricade, which looked great. But I wasn't sure what happened to Matt, that he was dead at this point. Maybe he's just like, I got to fake it. I don't want to go help Finlay out, Kind of heelish, Matt. No, apparently he's dead and couldn't help Finley. And eventually, The Miz and John Morrison get back in the ring and start beating up on Matt. So they kind of take Finley out for a little bit. Morrison told Miz to keep his eye on Finley and then tried rolling Matt up, which I kind of like that. Kind of the misdirection. But again, they're still like working as a tag team, but still getting pissed at each other for breaking up pins and stuff, trying to actually win the match. And eventually Matt starts fighting off both of them, and then Morrison goes for his springboard spinning kick, but he hits The Miz. Oh no, of course. Matt hits his side effect, looks great. John Morrison kicks out, and Finley gets back in the ring. And I'm like, all right, okay, so I guess we're gonna end this with all the guys in the ring, okay. But Finley goes right after Matt. Again, I like that the faces are fighting. And the action is picking back up. There's a lot of chaos, but it's done well and makes sense. Like, people are still selling. It's not just move and then get up and do a move. Like, it's all making sense. Eventually, Finley gets his shillelagh and knocks The Miz out with it. It looked great. And then Morrison was on the apron. He gave Finley this great kick to the side of the head. It actually looked like brutal. Like, it looked like he connected, which is good, because if this is the end of the match, you want Finley to look like he's actually knocked out. Can't do anything. Then Morrison gets back in the ring. Matt Hardy hits his Twist of Fate on Morrison for the win. So there's your number one contender, Matt Hardy. There it is. Mark Henry comes out on the stage to taunt Matt. Is Mark dropping this title this soon? Like, he just won it? The disrespect to ECW is just continuing. I don't know, maybe not, but I do know that Matt wins this title at some point. I just don't know if it's at SummerSlam. I wouldn't be surprised though. And they fade to black. That's the show. That's it. Hour-long ECW. We like it. Nice and short. Obviously not a great show. We all know this ship is sinking fast. The main event was actually good. Like, it was a really good Fatal 4-Way, but everything else was just so bad. And the fact that they did all this in Philadelphia was so disrespectful. It's insane. I don't know if Vince still held a grudge. I wonder what Paul Heyman thought of this. And again, if there were any lingering ECW fans, this has to hurt so bad. It's kind of funny. The most extreme thing that happened was Morrison throwing a drink in Finley's face at ringside. They're like, oh, there we go. That's extreme. That's it. Even in a Fatal 4 where there's no DQ, there was nothing extreme. So sad. It's very sad. But up next, we get to take a break from WWE. Well-deserved at this point. And we're going to peek on over to TNA Impact and see what's going on over there. I'm so excited. Again, hopefully we'll get to see a lot better wrestling. Like, these TNA should have hopefully a little bit longer matches, better wrestling, and hopefully we'll get to see like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christian. I never got to see Christian in TNA, but I love him. I want to see him at this point. Booker T's over there as well. So I'm just so excited. I can't wait. If you're watching along, you have to pay for TNA's subscription service, but it is on there. It is Impact from July 24th, 2008. I'm probably going to go that route. I might try to look it up on Daily Motion as well, so I don't have to pay $10 to watch this episode. But we'll see. We'll see. But what did you guys think of ECW, and what do you think of the podcast so far? Any recommendations, any comments? Let me know. Again, thanks for the patience. My schedule is just super busy and inconsistent, so I'm just trying to find the time to do these. But yeah, thanks for listening. Again, if you want to support, you can leave a like or a review. You can subscribe or follow, or you can share it with a friend. But even if you don't, again, I just appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you. See you next time.